And Ed's coming in right now, so maybe give him just a minute while he connects, and then we're good to go. All right, Elena, meeting's yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm calling this meeting to order. Board Secretary, please take the roll.
Trustee Lee Reader,
Present.
Trustee Gilbert,
Present.
Baptist.
I am here.
Thank you. Baines, absent. Barandis.
Brandis here.
Barandis present. Perez.
Perez present.
Thank you. Smith.
Present.
Thank you. Lena.
Okay, moving on to the approval of the agenda. So before we vote, let's make sure we identify our last name before making a motion, just in case I don't see you on the iPad. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Have the seconds.
Okay, so what Elena and I would like, so we make sure for the recording, if you're going to make a motion, identify yourself as Trustee Smith motion, Trustee Abdis, or second by Trustee Abdis, just so we know who's speaking, because sometimes it comes across. So we have a motion by Trustee Smith and a second by Trustee Abdis.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda by Trustee Smith, seconded by Trustee Abdis. Board Secretary, please take the roll.
Thank you. Trustee Lee Reader.
Aye.
Lee Reader, aye. Gilbert.
Aye.
Gilbert, aye. Abdis.
Aye.
Abdis, aye. Baines is absent. Barandis.
Brandis, aye.
Barandis, aye. Perez.
Yes.
Perez,
Okay.
aye. Smith.
Aye.
Smith, aye. Agenda's approved.
Okay, on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Smith, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
My pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, does anyone have any conflict of interest in today's agenda? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to presentations. I don't see we have any presentations. Do we have anything else, Kevin, or?
No scheduled presentations.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Let's see here.
I don't see any members of the public on, but if there are any, if anyone would like to make comment on non-agendized items, they may do so now.
Okay, hearing none. Okay, I'll turn 4.1 to 4.3 over to General Manager King.
Thank you. General Manager's report. Very, very busy January for us. Obviously starting first of the year with the storms and 24/7 patrols. So a very lengthy GM report this month. We are out with the Prop 218 ballots, so you all should have received your ballots. We're getting some returned and answering calls in regard to just questions if people had missed either the protest or any of our other informational items. Still some trickling in, but most the calls that we've received have been well informed, just clarification questions on the ballot and what they needed to do. So that's progressing very well. The ballots are due back by March 10th when we start, at 8 a.m. Is what we've told everyone. That's when we'll conduct the public hearing and go from there. The ballot count will take a few days to do, and so the results of the election won't be known on March 10th, but hopefully by March 17th, we should know the results of the 218 election. Moving on, new to this month, and this is just kind of a primer here. We're going to start our budget process kicking off in April, the first week of April. So if you're on one of these committees, look forward to meeting requests from me to go over the various components as we build our budget to the goal of having a draft final to present for comment in May, and then approval at our June board meeting. We've been very successful in the past 3 years following the same time frame. Seems to work well for those that have overlapping or dual or triple committee assignments. You'll be back to back to back to keep us on, every other week or so to keep us on schedule to move forward. So I should be able to have meetings. I'll start asking for meeting dates, but personnel first week of April. So look for some time there, and then moving on to operations. And I should have information for each committee to review a week ahead of time to go over, and then we can go into detail during the committee meetings. Moving on, we included the district operations here with all of the status of our pumping plants currently. We're in pretty good shape right now. The backup generator was delivered to pumping plant 4. We don't know when the Corps or how long the Corps is willing to keep it there. If they need it somewhere else or return it to their vendor, then they'll let it go. And before then, we may consider, depending on forecasts, whether we want to rent that generator. It's about $50,000 per month to rent. And so we would need to consider that and the upcoming storms. But before they move it, I think that's a decision point that we may have a special board meeting for you guys to weigh in on if you want to have that expenditure, if we can keep it there. Moving on, on various development project updates. We have a lot of development work going on right now. There's a lot of coordination between Mead and Hunt, Gabe, Paul, and myself, and reviewing plans and responding, putting conditions of approval on, and going through various components of the development projects. And so lastly, I think I wanted to point out a couple things on down here at the bottom. There is the CSDA's annual conference will be held in Monterey between August 28th and 31st. Gabe and I will plan to attend, and I believe that Olinda has indicated she would like to attend as well. So if there are other trustees, we do have money in the budget. And in fact, this will be in next year's budget, most likely. We can include it, but it may be a good opportunity. CSDA has been a fantastic organization for us, and they're finally doing them in person again. So it'll be in Monterey. If you'd like to attend, please let me know by the end of this month, if possible, because there's an early registration discount, and we can book a block of hotel rooms before they get booked up, and then we're all spread out. So if you'd like to attend, please let me know, and we'll get that set up. And I think that was all I wanted to mention this morning. Are there any questions on the general manager's report?
Kevin, can you go over March's board meeting and how we are starting a hybrid model?
Oh, yeah. So for March, we would request, so the boardroom's set up, and I have Christina, Gabe, and Jolene in the boardroom. For March, we would like it to be in person, so all trustees in person at the March meeting. And this is for 2 reasons. One, a little bit easier, but the second reason is the bank card. So the bank is actually going to be here that day, so we can collect all of your signatures. And as opposed to us all trying to pick another alternate date to go down to the bank. For some reason, they want everyone there to sign the card at the same time. So if we could, but what we will do and why we've set up the boardroom is that we'll still broadcast, so to speak, over Zoom and record it that way. So members of the public who would like to attend can do so virtually. And then moving forward after the March meeting, we will offer a hybrid option for trustees and the public. We'll continue to use our Zoom meeting. If you'd like to be in person, obviously be in person. If you can't, and Rebecca will weigh in here on Brown Act requirements and posting. So if you do intend to attend a meeting remotely, there are some agenda posting requirements per the Brown Act. So Rebecca, starting in March, if trustees want to attend remotely, what are the requirements?
Sure. So two options for remote attendance. One is to go back to the old school Brown Act by our Brown Act policies, which is if you are going to participate remotely, then at least a quorum of you need to be within the jurisdiction of the agency. And you need to participate remotely from a public location. That location needs to be identified in advance on the agenda. And you need to post an agenda at whatever, your home, a hotel, wherever you're going to be, as well as at the regular board meeting. There was a modification to the Brown Act that allowed for sort of a middle ground between what you're doing now under AB 361 and COVID rules and the former version of the Brown Act. It's frankly too complicated to be very helpful for most public agencies, but here's the basic rules. Under AB 2449, what we do as an alternative, if you do not want to make your public location, your remote location public, or you can't, let's say you're traveling somewhere, you're in the car, you need to participate, you need to have a valid excused absence. So that is, in case of emergency, it's childcare or any kind of family member care, and it's public agency travel or illness. If one of those things apply and you know in advance, then you let Kevin know, let your staff know, and you can participate without making your location public. If we're in that world, you get 2 of those excused absences a year per trustee and no more. And you'll need to disclose the reason that you're participating remotely. Separately, if you find right before the meeting that your car broke down, you suddenly came down sick, you can also, in the emergency exceptions, do the same. In that case, it's still a 2-item limit. But you would just announce that at the beginning of the meeting. So those rules can be fairly difficult to implement, and there's a lot of details within them. So our blanket advice to you is going to be, if you think you need to participate in the meeting remotely for whatever reason, just let Kevin know as soon as you can, so that we can appropriately accommodate, either by posting the agenda for you and getting your remote location noticed, or making sure that you fit within the exception.
So thank you, Rebecca. In that regard, as Rebecca mentioned, please let me know as soon as you can. Obviously, there's emergency situations you may have to participate last minute, so you have those 2 exceptions per the year. But if I could know, usually post the agenda the first Friday of the month, right? So which we send out, or so if you let me know, the first Thursday or the Friday morning, I can make the change to the agenda and get that posted. So that'll be the time frame. If you have planned travel or something like that for a board meeting, let me know. And then we'll just have to balance out, as Rebecca mentioned, if 5 of you are all on vacation out of the district at the same time, that would be a problem in that we have to have a quorum of the board. So we have to have 4 trustees within the district boundaries. And so even like for Nick, downtown, if you're participating and from your office, that would be outside the district boundaries. So still able to do that, we would just post that location, but you have to be within the district's boundaries or jurisdiction. So clear as mud. We'll manage this between Rebecca and I. We'll manage this for you guys. Just let us know if you do intend to attend meetings virtually. moving forward, just let us know and we can manage that the first week of the month. So
You can understand why we say, we'll give you the update, but just let staff help you walk through it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a headache.
And Rebecca, I think if I remember correctly, under the new rules, we only get 2 excused absence a year.
That's correct.
It sounds a little bit like high school, that you actually can't do those meetings by telephone.
No, they need to be video and telephone, both
Right.
video and audio.
So if your car breaks down, that's fine as long as your phone is actually capable of transmitting video.
That's right.
all right, you guys, any other questions for me on the general manager's report? Hearing none, we'll move on to operations manager's report. Gabe has included a lot of detail in his report for this month, a little more information than in previous months. So we keep building, the report that Gabe puts together with our pumping data and how many hours they ran and all that. So I hope that's helpful for you all. We have spent a lot of time this year on trash pickup and garbage. And so the activity since in the current year, we're about, $75,000 so far this year. And we still have a lot to do as we get, through the end of the flood season. The amount of money that you see here is only reflective of staff time and does not include the disposal fees or the fuel associated with the trash pickup either. So this is just staff allocation based on the hours and the compensation for those employees. So you can see it's a very large problem, and included in this is a lot of time we spent, a week on the Steelhead Creek cleanup. But we have been doing weekly cleanups. It's something that we talked about in the budget for this year, to just do weekly cleanups throughout the district where we suspend all other activities and just go pick up trash that's accumulated and respond to illegal dumpings or homeless encampment debris removal. This also includes the staff time for the 2 major cleanups that we did in conjunction with the city of Sacramento. We're efforting to be included in the county's weekly or bi-weekly meetings for them to engage with us to set some priorities for cleanups in the county locations as well. So I think we're finally maybe have our toe in the door, not the full foot yet with the county, but we're getting there. And it's not going to go away. We're going to see this expenditure continue to increase if this is the level of service that we want to provide, as well as I think what's expected. We get a lot of calls about trash pickup and notification from 311 from the county or from the city, and it's just part of our daily life now. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. Big expenditure for the
Kevin?
district, but yep.
Tom here. Being that I wasn't involved in last year's budget, these seem to be over and above what might have been in the budget. And
Well,
gonna pay attention to that once we get into the budget area. But how is this tracking compared to what we thought it would cost?
Well, so what we do in the budget is we allocate total staff time with some added contingencies for like overtime with flood fights and stuff. So this isn't above and beyond the labor budget for the year, but
Okay.
it basically shifts our focus from other O&M activities to trash pickup. So we track this just so we have some information for all of you, as well as outside agencies when we're asking for assistance or help, or maybe a grant program or potential state legislation to help us with this issue, is to be able to demonstrate how much we are spending in trash pickup. 5 years ago, this amount was less than $20,000. So we're tracking it internal, but it's not a budget exceedance.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome. Any questions, or Gabe, did you want to add anything to your report?
No, I don't have nothing to add. Yeah, just spent a lot of time with trash pickup and then obviously 24-hour patrol for about 3 weeks. So yeah, that's pretty much it, Kevin. Thank you.
All right, any questions from the trustees on item 4.2?
Kevin, I don't have a question. I have just a comment. You know, at Safeco now with the work on the east side, the footprint of the right-of-way area that Safeco is looking at is pretty significant. And my understanding is that that additional area will be conveyed somehow to RD 1000. At least we haven't had those discussions, but it might be one of the options on the table. I just kind of want to flag that if that is the case, you know, we got to make sure that we, you know, have a complete picture of what the ongoing O&M is going to be in those areas. And since they are going to be public, my concern is they could be attractants for, you know, activities that generate trash, and that in the discussions with Safeco, we definitely need to make sure we account for that. So that's just more of an FYI, but just something to keep track of.
Yeah, Nick, thank you for that comment. At the Safeco executive meeting last week, this item was discussed briefly, and I did ask Rick to I asked him, you know, who the underlying property owner is intended to be. RD 1000 isn't necessarily opposed to being that underlying property owner, but we want to know what encumbrances would come with that. And Rick's comment was they're not sure yet. And Elena, I think you were on the call as well, so if I'm misstating this, but they weren't sure yet. They're still working with DWR to determine underlying property ownership, and there's further discussion there. So we can make these your comments known, and we'll keep that in mind as well before and obviously we'd come back to the board for any real estate, you know, real property transfer to the district, and we would want to make sure that we understand that level. And if it is, you know, maybe it's something that we ask for additional funding through CC82, but we also want to make sure it's not a undue burden. So thank you for those comments.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, anything else from 4.2?
Hey, Kevin, I did just want to check and see as far as outreach for the stormwater fee vote. Do you have any scheduled like media outreach, like ads or anything of that sort?
Yeah, we've been doing our iHeart radio ads. Those are running. And we also have the billboards that are still active through the 1st of March through the vote. We've done a lot of media coverage, particularly during the storm events. We are hopeful. We were told by the SACB, Elena and I wrote an op-ed that they were going to pick it up, and it's been about a week. I mean, they had to send headshots and everything. So we're checking in with them again on that. And we continue our social presence as well. All the community outreach meetings, I did a lot of them this past summer leading up to the protest hearing, so that then when people received the ballot, they weren't, you know, caught off guard. I did see your email, and I believe I'll be able to attend the community association that you sent over, and I'll respond to that later today. I'd be happy to do so. But I think we've covered quite a bit there, and we'll give you more updates. You're on urbanization committee, and we have a meeting set up on the 22nd, and we'll go through our data analytics from both the fornatomas.org webpage as well as our social pages and our district webpage, and then we'll get the impressions. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we also have an ad going at the movie theater down by Home Depot. So in the lobby, and 30-second ad before the movie airs. So
Clarification, Kevin, Tom Miranda's and Tom Smith are on urbanization, but Ed can attend as we could change it to a special meeting. We would love to have him on board with his input as well.
yeah, or he can attend as an observer, right? So and not a participant. So thank you. We'll move on to item 4.3. General Counsel report. Scott, Rebecca.
Good morning. So you heard a little bit of an update from us on Brown Act changes coming into March. And certainly reach out if you have any questions at all, or we can help to coordinate that. Continue to support with prep for your hearing coming up in March, and then we'll talk in your closed session about your annual process for going through general manager's review. So,
Any questions for Scott or Rebecca?
I'll just note that I have a conflicting appointment shortly. So when you go into closed session, I will not be joining you today. That'll be all Rebecca today.
Thank you, Scott.
As long as you're there for March 10th, Scott.
Well, I was going to talk to you about that. It might take, some extra
Nope.
white chocolate macadamia nut cookies or something.
Okay, let's move on to the consent calendar. I'll entertain a motion to move the consent calendar.
Trustee Gilbert, move to accept.
Can I get a second?
Second from Brandis.
All right. Motion to approve the consent calendar by Trustee Gilbert, seconded by Trustee Brandes. Board Secretary, please take the roll.
Thank you, Trustee Lee Reader.
Aye.
Lee Reader, aye. Gilbert.
Aye.
Gilbert, aye. Abdus.
Aye.
Abdus, aye. Baines, absent. Barandis.
Brandis, aye.
Barandis, aye. Perez.
Aye.
Perez, aye. Smith.
Aye.
Smith, aye. Motion's approved.
Okay, moving on. We have no scheduled items, so let's move on to closed session. So how are we doing this? So Kevin, you're stepping out.
Yes, so we're working on getting Scott and Rebecca set up on our Zoom account so they can co-host meetings in the future. So I'm the host of the meeting, and if I leave, the meeting ends. So for future meetings, we'll have Scott and Rebecca be able to stay on. So I'm going to step out of my office, mute, and then Rebecca will give me a text when you guys get out of closed session. And so what I think I can do is put people into a waiting room.
Kevin, if you right click on the dots right next to my picture, you may be able to make me a co-host.
All right, give me a few minutes here. If anybody needs to use the restroom, you can do so now, and then let me figure this out as we're changing here. So make host.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, so that's good. And then I think I need to put.
So I can actually put folks now into waiting rooms, Kevin. And
Perfect. Yep.
So you're all set.
All right. So put us all into a waiting room aside from the trustees, and then I'll just stay on then.
Okay. And I think nobody is. Are there any trustees in the boardroom? I can't really see very well.
No.
No.
So you can just.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
Cut
him off.
Take control.
Hey, Rebecca, I'm going to sign off now, but don't forget to stop the
Scott.
recording. Don't forget to stop the recording.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Okay, let's double check the attendees really quick. Oh,
Good
funny.
thing.
Kevin's calling.
Oh,
Hey, Kevin, we're in closed session now. Okay, Rebecca, can you turn off the recording?
yep. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Okay, she says it's off. Okay, bye.
He's probably asking me if he's still general manager.
There you go.
All right, you guys are back.
We have nothing to report out.
Okay, nothing to report from closed session.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Trustee
moved by
Gilbert
Trustee
moves.
Abdus.
Dang it, Tom. You can have it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 You guys. I'll see you guys next month.
Thanks, Elena.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
thank you,
everyone.